Actually, learning memory cognition. Psychology. Relative permanent change in behavior due to experience. Learning means relatively permanent change in behavior due to experience. Learning characteristics. Change experience. Change experience. Change experience. Relatively permanent is transferable. Change experience. Learning characteristics. Learning characteristics. Change experience relatively permanent transferable. Permanent transferable. Change experience relatively permanent transfer. Types of learning: classical, operant, observational, cognitive, insights learning, cognitive, classical, operant, permanent transferable, trial and error learning, Thorndike's theory, random response until success, trial and error learning, Thorndike theory, random response until success, then law effect, law effect, law effect, behavior followed by the satisfaction is strengthened. Behavior followed by satisfaction is strengthened. Law of readiness. Learning depends on learner's readiness. Learning depends on learner's readiness. Law of readiness. Learning depends on learner's readiness. Law of effect. Behavior followed by the satisfaction strengthened. Law of effect. Trial and error learning. Thorndike theory. Random response until success. Thorndike theory. Random response until success. Classical operant. Tribal learning and classical operant observational. Law of readiness. Learning depends on learner readiness. Law of exercise. Practice strengthens disuse, weakens connections. Law of exercise. Practice strengthens connection. Practice strengthens disuse. Law of readiness. Learning depends on learner's readiness. Inside learning. Gest- Gestalt theory. Certain understanding of problem. Latent learning. Tolman. Learning without immediate reinforcement. Latent learning. Tolman. Observational learning means Bandura. Learn by watching model. Bandura. Latent learning means latent. Tolman. Learning without immediate reinforcement. Inside learning means Gestalt theory. Certain understanding the problem. Problem बुझियो. Law of exercise and practice strengthens practice. Disuse weakens connections. Law of readiness. Learning depends on learner's readiness. Readiness. Law of effect. Behavior followed by satisfaction strengthen. Behavior followed by satisfaction. Strengthen. Zero transfer. Zero transfer. Previous learning has no effect. Previous learning has no effect. Zero transfer. Negative transfer means previous learning hinders new learning. Previous learning helps new learning. It's motivation. Zero transfer. Previous learning has no effect. Learning curve. Graphical representation of learning progress. Factors affecting learning. Motivation, interest, maturity, environment. Motivation learning. Motivation learning means intrinsic or extrinsic type to learn. Readiness in learning. Physical, mental, emotional preparedness. Physical, mental, emotional. Attention in learning. Focus on relevant stimuli. Focus on relevant stimuli. Feedback in learning. Info about a performance to improve. Again, feedback learning means info about performance to improve. Information about performance to improve. Attention learning means focus on relevant stimuli. Readiness learning means physical, mental, emotional preparedness. Physical, emotional preparedness. Motivational learning means intrinsic versus extrinsic. Feedback in learning means reinforcement in learning means stimulus that strengthen the behavior. Embarrassment learning means stimulus that weakness the behavior. Learning versus maturation means learning experience, maturation biological. Learning versus performance, learning potential performances actual performances. Learning in classroom means discovery, inquiry, collaborative methods. Learning styles means visual, auditory, kinesthetics. Learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetics. Visual, auditory, kinesthetics. Learning styles. Multiple intelligence means gardener. 8 types of intelligence. Visual, auditory, kinesthetics. Discovery, inquiry, collaborative. Learning disability. Neurological disorder affecting learning. Dyslexia. Difficulty reading, dyslexia, difficulty writing, dyscalculia, difficulty math, learning disability, neurological disorder affecting learning. Affecting learning. Actually, learning assessment. A formative, summative, and diagnostic. Learning assessment. Formative, summative, formative, diagnostic. Learning outcome. Measurable change in learning outcome. Measurable change in knowledge, skill, attitude. Measurable change in knowledge, skill, attitude. Physical learning environment, physical, social, psychological climate. Learning out through play. Vygotsky create zone and proximal development. Vygotsky create zone or proximal development. Vygotsky create zone and proximal development. Proximal development. Vygotsky create zone and proximal development was learning through play. Memory. Process of encoding, storing, retrieving information. Process of encoding, memory. Encode, store, retrieving information, retrieve, encoding, converting information to mental retention. Storage, retaining encode information over time. Over time, storage encode करियो, retaining. Retrieval, accessing stored info when needed. Accessing stored information when needed. Accessing. Retrieval, accessing stored information when needed. Sensory memory means brief, iconic plus echoic. Millisecond in seconds. Short-term memory means 7 plus 2 items, 23 seconds, 22 seconds. Working memory. Working memory. Explicit memory, conscious recall, episodic. Explicit memory, conscious recall, episodic, semantic, long-term memory, unlimited capacity, permanent storage, short-term memory, 20-30 second working, sensory motor memory, sensory memory means iconic, millisecond to second, sensory memory, retrieval, accessing stored information when needed, encoded information, explicit memory, conscious recall, semantic, implicit memory, unconscious procedural skills memory. Explicit means conscious recall, implicit means unconscious procedural skills, Episodic memory means personal events, experience, personal event. Semantic memory means facts, concept, knowledge. Archive memories. Impressive memory is answers. Episodic memory, personal event, experience. Semantic memory is facts, concept, knowledge. Procedural memory is skill, habit, how to knowledge. Skill, habit. Archive memory is active processing in info. Badly model. Forgetting, failure to retrieve, store info. Forgetting, causes of forgetting, decay, interference, repression, retrieval, failure. Forgetting, failure to retrieve, store. Working memory means active processing info, badly model, active processing. Procedural memory means skills, habit. Working memory, forgetting. Working memory active processing. Working memory active cause of forgetting. Decay, interference, repression, retrieval, failure. Decay theory. When memory fades with time if not used. Fades with time. Interference theory. New information blocks old to vice versa. Interference theory. Relative interference. Old learning interferes with new. Interference theory. A new information blocks old or vice versa. Retroactive interference. New learning interferes with old. Repression. Unconscious forgetting of a painful memory. Unconscious forgetting of painful memory. Repression. Retrieval cue means hint that aids recall. Repression. Unconscious forgetting of painful memory. Retrieval means hint that aids recall. Context dependent memory. Context dependent memory means recall better in some context. State dependent memory means recall better in same mode or state. Memory aids. Acronyms imagery. Chunking group info into meaningful unit. Rehearsal means repeat info to retain in STM. Elaboration means connect new info with existing knowledge. Elaboration. Spacing effect. Distributed practice. Distributed practice better than me. Spacing effect. A memory aids acronym imagery. Chunking group of info into meaningful units. Chunking. Rehearsal repeat info for return in STM. Elaboration connect new info with existing knowledge. Elaboration connecting new information. Spacing effect. Distributed practice better than most. Spacing effect. Retrieving information strengthens memory. Memory in classroom. Review, summarize, concept map. Recognition, relearning, memory development, improve with age strategy use. Improve with age strategy use. Memory emotion events remembered better. Emotion event. Eyewitness memory unreliable, prone to suggestion. Memory loss, amnesia, Alzheimer's trauma. Memory in classroom. Review, summarize, concept map. Memory in classroom. Nesting effect. Retrieving information strengthens memory. Strengthen memory. Memory in classroom. Review, summarize, concept map. Memory loss, amnesia, Alzheimer's trauma, eyewitness memory. Nesting effect. Retrieving. Spacing effect. Distributed practice better than. Chunking, rehearsal, repeat information to retain in Connect new info with existing knowledge. Spacing effect. Distributed practice better than a must. Elaboration. Connect new info with the existing knowledge. Memory in classroom. Review, summarize concept map. Summarize concept. Spacing effect. Distributed practice better than must. Connect new information with the existing knowledge. Repeating. Memory aids acronym. Connect new information with the existing knowledge. Distributed practice. Distributed practice. Distributed practice is better than must. Better than must. Testing effect. Testing effect. Retrieving information strengthens memory. Memory classroom. Review, summarize concept maps. Memory in classroom. Memory loss means amnesia. Eyewitness memory means unreliable. Prone to suggestions. Memory and emotion. Emotion event remember better. Emotion events remembered better. Memory and development. Improve with age strategy. Memory and emotion. Memory development. Improve with age strategy use. Improve with age. Memory assessment. Recall, recognition, relearning. Memory development improves with age strategy use. Memory and emotion. Emotional events remembered better. Cognition. Cognition. Mental processes of knowing, thinking, problem solving. Cognitive process. Attention, perception, memory, language, reasoning. Attention, perception, memory, language, reasoning. Cognitive process. Cognition, mental processes. Attention, selective focus on stimuli. Perceptions, organizing and interpreting sensory. Organizing and interpreting. Perception, perception. Thinking, manipulating, mental preparation, representation, thinking. Problem solving. Thinking and manipulating, mental representation, manipulating, thinking. Problem solving and finding solution, goal, direct tasks. Goal, direct tasks. Types of solving. Problem solving means algorithm, heuristic, trial error, insight. Types of problem solving. Algorithm, heuristic. Algorithm, step by step procedure. Guaranteed solution. Heuristics, mental shortcut, quick but not guaranteed. Reasoning, deductive, inductive, analogical. Reasoning. Heuristics, mental shortcut, quick but not guaranteed. Deductive reasoning, general to specific, logically valid. Inductive reasoning, specific to general, probabilistics. Language, system symbols for communication. Language acquisition, Chomsky, Laird, universal grammar. Deductive, inductive, analogical reasoning. General to specific, logically valid. Deductive. Inductive reasoning, specific to general, probabilistics. Deductive, inductive, analogical. Heuristics, memory shortcut, quick but not guaranteed. Algorithm, step by step procedure, guaranteed solution. Finding solution to goal, problem solving. Deductive, inductive, deductive reasoning, general to specifics. Inductive, specific to general, probabilistics, logically. System symbols for communication. mental category objective objects events mental category schema mental framework for organizing cognitive load mental effort in working memory metacognition thinking about thinking cognitive development Piaget stage of thinking language acquisition Chomsky layered universal grammar language system of symbols for communication system of symbols for communications system of symbols for communication language inductive reasoning specific to general probabilistics inductive reasoning is specific to general probabilistics language system of symbols of communication symbols language acquisition on Chomsky layered universal grammar cognitive development Piaget metacognition thinking about thinking self regulation cognitive load माने mental effort in working memory mental effort schema माने mental framework concept माने mental category prototype best example of category cognitive bias माने systematic error best example of category cognitive bias माने systematic error in thinking systematic error systematic error thinking confirmation bias seek in creativity divergent thinking novel solution systematic error in thinking confirmation bias seek information to confirm beliefs information creativity माने divergent thinking prototype माने best example creativity माने divergent thinking critical thinking माने analyze evaluate reason logically cognitive strategy mnemonics elaboration organization cognitive psychology study of mental processes information processing model inputs process output analogy to computer scaffolding questioning discussion cognitive factors in learning attention memory motivation prior knowledge cognitive assessment test reasoning problem solving memory attention memory motivation prior knowledge cognitive assessment test learning problem solving cognitive memory cognitive factors means attention memory motivation prior knowledge cognitive development assessment scaffolding questioning discussion processing model माने input process output to analogy computer psychology cognitive psychology means study of mental processes cognitive strategy माने elaboration organization critical thinking माने analyze evaluate reason logically analyze evaluate reason logically creative and divergent thinking novel resolution confirmation bias means seek into confirm belief systematic error thinking prototype माने best examples